Hey guys, and welcome back. So a lot of you have been asking if I still have the Humvee. Well, the answer to that is absolutely. This is one of my favorite vehicles, and today I thought I'd give you a little overview over and just talk about her a little bit more. Let's get started. I love this thing. It's not practical. So here she is in all her glory. Hopefully the wind noise isn't too bad for you guys today. She's a 1995 Humvee. It's an AMG, so it's a military spec Humvee, which means just this. If you look inside of her, she is, well, what I like to consider sparse. Obviously, we've got in here, you've got the dog box, you've got a steering wheel and some gauges, but that is about it. Let me get in here with you guys. All right, look at this. This is what I call absolutely nothing. You have speed, temp, voltage, fuel, oil pressure, and that's it. These currently are not even working, but that is how you get airflow out of here. You've got them through the sides and right through the front, so you can get a little bit of air in here. My fan, which is right over there inside that box, has gone out. And that could be a problem for me. I'm gonna have to fix that. Over here, we've got something that's how much water you can take on before you're going to suck water into the engine. And actually, if you look right out over the top right there, you can see the little snorkel that comes on these. You can obviously get those much bigger and higher, and then this level would be incorrect. Right now, this is basically saying that once the water level gets up to that high, you are in trouble. And obviously I'm not going that high in water, so that's fine. This is the key system for it. Obviously still 100% military spec. We can start the vehicle with this, and then this is all the lighting features for the vehicle. If you want lights to come on, if you want brakes to show up, if you want turn signals to work, this is where you set all of that stuff. So it's kind of neat, but definitely very sparse inside here. It does have the upgraded seats, so the seats are much nicer than what would come in here. It is completely rhino lined on the inside, which is nice, and then the seats in the back are also upgraded as well. This actually went to Plan B, and they're the ones that did the hardtop on here, and a lot of people asked about the hardtop. They do a great job, and you can tell that they even carpet it. It's a nice feature. It makes it look a lot nicer. The bar up here was also rhino lined. And with the Plan B hardtop, you can see that you get the big window in the back, which is wonderful. I mean, it gives you good viewing. And obviously, if you put a rearview mirror on this, you can see out the back, and it makes it much more street legal. So let's just talk about her in general. This 95, so it's the 6.2 liter diesel. It still has the automatic transmission, which is a 3-speed. That's probably the biggest detriment to this particular model. It only goes about 55 miles an hour, which isn't bad. Around town, this thing is flawless, and I love driving it. But if you want to take this on a trip or a longer drive, I definitely would suggest that you want to, one, upgrade the transmission. You might even want to upgrade the engine. This was never designed to go fast. It was always designed for about 55 miles an hour, and she does that really well. The cool thing about it is just the size. I mean, it's even hard to fit it all into the camera at all times, but she is a really fun vehicle. I will tell you that Prius owners do not like it. It's kind of a 50-50 actually out on the road. People either love this thing or they don't understand what it is. So it's a little bit of a mixed box, but the cool thing is everything is inboard on this. If we can go underneath this vehicle, you'll see that there is a ton of clearance. And that's because all of the brakes, well, let's see if we can get in there. Yep, brakes are inboard. So there are the brakes. And I actually had one of these wheels fall off, and it just sits on the A-arm. You see that bolt right there? It just sits on the A-arm, and you could actually drive it home. It's kind of like being on a skateboard. It will just pull itself and doesn't do any harm to the hub or the assembly because it's all on that A-arm, which is really kind of cool. Like I was saying, that 6.2 liter diesel does a great job, fires up every time. You're not going to buy one of these looking for it to be good on fuel or any of that type stuff. So obviously, I think I'm getting like 8 miles to the gallon. With diesel prices where they are, it's kind of terrible, but one of the other features on this one that not everyone has is obviously the metal doors. Those are also Plan B. I believe this is an earlier version of their doors. Their newer doors are a little bit nicer, but for what these are, they do a great job. They have the sliding windows that lock. They have the doors that lock. So at least you can get a little bit more security from one of these vehicles. Once again, everything is inboard on here. So there are your brakes on the inside. So you can see that this is the front of the vehicle. You got your wheels over here. Everything on this thing is so big and beefy. That is one thing that I was not prepared for when I bought this, is I think like 1-inch bolts and bigger are the norm. So you definitely need a larger socket set. You also need a lot more strength, just because everything takes a lot more torque to get on and off. It's still one of my favorite vehicles. I actually thought that I was going to buy this, sell it in about a year. I think I've had this for 3 years now. I don't use it that often, but it really does a great job. One of the other features on here that I absolutely love are the hooks. Now, on the later versions of these, like the H2s, when they became a produced vehicle through GM, those hooks were just for look. Now, these hooks are actually for airdropping. So you can pick up the front of the vehicle by those hooks, and you can pick up the back of the vehicle by those hooks right there, which is kind of cool. I mean, you know, you always want a vehicle that can be airdropped into anywhere you need to go. That's sarcasm, because I don't think I'm going to airdrop it. But if you needed to, this would be your vehicle. I just love driving this thing, and I think that's probably one of the things that we should go do. Hopefully you're going to be able to hear me as I drive, so let's go take her out. All right, guys, hopefully you can still hear me. It is a loud vehicle. In here, I usually keep a set of headphones, and I also keep a set of Bluetooth speakers, just so if you want music, most likely you're not going to be able to listen to music just out in the open. It's going to have to be through some sort of headphone. But other than that, it's not terrible. Let's go ahead and take her for a quick little spin and just see how she's driving. It's been about 2 months since I've had her out. I'm looking forward to this. I think you can tell that, you know, no matter what vehicle you have or what you're doing, the biggest thing that you want is something that puts a smile on your face. This is what that vehicle does. Obviously, this is 100% not practical, but that's okay. I mean, it's about the smile on my face, and that's what gives me everything I want out of this Humvee. I also do like that it's kind of massive and you kind of do whatever you want. If I want to go off the road, I'll just go off-road. I mean, it takes so much to hurt one of these that you can just do whatever you like. So a lot of people have questions about the military Hummers, and the biggest thing that I can tell you is if you want the ease of one, and obviously they're cheaper than an H1, that you need to buy one that's already been titled. That way you don't have to worry about it. If you try to title one yourself, you're going to get into some issues. Also, a lot of states like California will not allow you to register one of these anymore. I believe if you're grandfathered in, you're okay, but if not, you're not going to get one. I live in South Carolina. They'll let anything on the road. I mean, heck, I could drive a tractor on the road, so this is pretty much just that. Now, I will tell you, do you need to buy a Humvee? Absolutely not. This is not a practical vehicle. It's not a vehicle that most of you will ever need or want. But if this is something that strikes your fancy, I think once you get one, you'll never want to part with it. And that's kind of where I am right now. I really did think that I was going to get rid of this and not keep it as long as I've had it. But ultimately, I have no plans of getting rid of it. And with the economy where it is, I think I could make some money on it, but I don't think I'll ever be able to buy one again. And I think that this is one of those vehicles that's going to go nowhere but up. It's historic. It's iconic. You see this and you think of, one, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and you also think about, I can do anything. I can drive off-road. In fact, when you're in a parking lot, it's not a big deal just to hop a curve and go over that way. You know, it's one of those vehicles that lets you do things that maybe you're not supposed to do normally. But that's the fun part. Overall ease of maintenance and taking care of it, it's one of the easiest vehicles that I have to take care of. Like I said earlier, everything on it is bigger, so you're going to need some 1-inch and larger sockets and wrenches and tools. But other than that, to work on it, super easy. The hood pops open, you can climb underneath. To do an oil change, you don't have to jack it up, just get under, drain the oil, fill her back up and go. I love the simplicity of this. And because it is a military vehicle, they needed it to be simple. If you're out in the middle of the desert, what do? You just work on it. Things I would mention are making sure that if you're going to get a Humvee, you do a little research and you know what you're getting into. You know that this thing is going to drive like a tractor on the road. You know that this is not going to be a daily driver. Could you use it? Absolutely. It could be used every day if you wanted to. But would you really practically want to? Probably not. Now, you want to make sure that one has been titled. If it's been titled, it makes your life a lot easier. The other thing is, try to get one that's already been optioned out. I bought this one already with the Plan B top, doors. It had the aftermarket wheels. It was spec'd out exactly how I would want my Humvee. So it made my life very easy. You can also contact Plan B and they will set you up with one that's already done. So you tell them the specs you want, you pay for the Humvee, and you're good to go. That's the way that I would do it if I was going to do this again. I think that I got a lot of the features that I wanted, but there are still a few things that I would like. A few creature comforts, you might say. One is this dog box that's over here. I would like it to be a full dog box that has all of my infotainment in it. I would like cup holders. I would like a lock box. Just a few of those things. Back there, I'd like a jump seat so that if I wanted to have some smaller people or more people in the back, I could do that. There's just some little things. Most of those I'll take care of myself. I've always said that I was going to do them, but I've been a little bit behind on all of the projects that I have to do. Let me see where I'm going to park her today. Park her wherever we want. This will work. Let me turn her off for you guys. All right. Whew, I will tell you, it is loud. That is not my favorite part about it. There is no sound deadening in here. There is no waterproofing, really. So it does have the top, it does have the doors, and it'll keep most of it out. However, because this was designed as a military vehicle to be able to do so many different things, they really leave them sparse so that each application can kind of do those things that they need to. Well, and on this one, they kept it sparse, meaning like even in the floorboard, there are holes that you could bolt things to. But when it's raining and there's holes in your floorboard, you get wet. So it's not really, like I was saying earlier, it's not really a practical vehicle for daily driving, though you could drive it anywhere you want. You can drive it through a couple feet of water. It'll get water inside and then drain all of it out, kind of like a big boy Jeep. All right, just so you can get a little idea of a size comparison, here is my Humvee, and behind it, which you can't really even see, is my Land Rover. And she is another big vehicle that gets totally dwarfed by the size of the Humvee, especially just how wide this thing is in the back. Even compared to the Land Rover, it is just so much smaller, so much more compact. It's crazy when you can take a full-size SUV and make it look like a compact vehicle. I think that is the reason why I love this thing. It's just enormous. I know, everybody's going to say I'm compensating for something, and that's fine. I guess if you're going to compensate for something, you might as well do it all out and go big or go home, right? All right, guys, I'm back inside. It is so cold and windy out there that I just wanted to finish up the video in here. Basically, I absolutely love the Humvee. I think if you've ever wanted one, you should experience it. It is a truly fun vehicle, not practical at all. It's not going to get good mileage. It's not going to really do anything well except for what it's designed to do. It'll go off-road well. It'll lose a wheel and still keep going. It's never going to have the big problems because it's a very simple vehicle. But then again, it's not going to have Bluetooth. It's not going to make you have the reclining seat with lumbar support. I guess you can make it do whatever you want. You can make it whatever you want, but then the price goes up. I also suggest if you're ever going to get one of these, contact Plan B. I think that they do a fabulous job with these. They will make sure that you get everything you want and exactly how you want it. All right, guys, let me know what you think of the Humvee, if you want to see more, or if there's questions that you have about it. I don't know everything about the Humvee. I bought one just because I've always wanted one and loved the look of it. So I'm learning as I'm going as well. So definitely leave me comments below, and we'll catch you next time.